the people out there in the YouTube world. This is your boy B, the outlier. And I'm right back up at you guys with another live video. And again, we are on our way to work. This is what, the second day in a row that I'm doing it. I came on live last week and I told you guys what was going on. But we still keeping it going. We still keeping it going. And again, we are live from Freeport, New York. That is Nassau County, Long Island, my people. And today we're gonna still talk about that 10% rule that we spoke about. And we're trying to grow 10% in three areas of life. And that first area is going to be health. The next area is going to be career, which is work. And then the next area is going to be in my personal life, my people. So we also going to talk about Adnon Syed, something that I've been watching, and this was a podcast serial that I started watching way back in the day, around the same time that I started watching that Missing with Mara Murray, and this represented a good time in my life. This is when podcasts were just coming out, and I was getting into it. And that Adnan Syed case definitely captured my imagination. We're going to go into that just a little bit. If you guys want the complete details on that case, anyone can watch it, but I'm just going to tell you how I feel about it and some of my initial thoughts that I had, right? Now, let's talk about that 10% stuff now. First, we're going to speak about health. And you guys know I have diabetes. There's no reason to go back on that. Comparing my numbers from yesterday, which was Wednesday, to Tuesday and Monday, I'm not going to say that I did better, but I will say that I kept everything on par. Meaning, I took my long lasting insulin, I took that shot before I left yesterday. Then I also covered myself with the fast acting insulin for each meal that I made. Now, I'm on a sliding scale when it comes to this insulin stuff, especially the fast acting stuff. Now, what the sliding scale is, it means that you're going to have to cover yourself for the food that you digest or ingest. And this is to people, to different people. You know, everybody body reacts to insulin differently. Everybody body processes food differently. So this isn't just a one size fit all type formula. This is something where you're gonna have to experiment with. And I've had diabetes for 20 years and just experiencing with it. Honestly, I don't need any uh, I don't need any technology to tell me how to do this. I can feel myself. Like right now, I know how my body feels, and I can tell you if my sugar is high or low, and I can give you a pretty good, estimate about that. Like blowing it dead down, son. I swear, my nose is crazy. Somebody's blowing it dead down. Maybe they drove by blowing it down. I don't know where it's at, but I smells it, my people. I most definitely smells it. Somebody got that za. It is. But ain't none of my business, you know? But yeah, so again, this is a sliding scale and everybody's body is different. So I can tell you again, if my sugar is high or if my sugar is low. I know how to count carbs, meaning the food that you eat. I know I could look at something, could look at, the ingredients in it, if it's rice, if it's bread, if it's meat, if it has sauce on it. And I just know the calculations already in my head. And I could know in the ballpark which how much sugar to give me. Now, sometimes, and this is the dangerous part about having 3C, type 3C diabetes, is that you don't have the, like insulin, you don't have glucogen. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but you don't have that. And that is what raises your sugar when it goes too low. And this is where diabetes can be dangerous, and especially in a place like New York, yo, because you go into those subway systems and sometimes you can't get off, and a lot of stations don't have food in it. So if your sugar go low and you on that train, or if your sugar go low and you like walking to the train station or anywhere that you're walking, or you out for the day, you don't have a store around or a place where you can access some fast glucose, then you might be in trouble, my people. And if you know about diabetes, you know that low blood sugars can kill you. So I had a time when I was on my way to the store, but I felt my blood sugar dropping. And y'all may think I'm lying, son, but it got to like 28. And at that level, you feel like you're about to faint. You're weak. You can barely see anything. This is one of the worst feelings in the world. And there's plenty of ways to die in this world, yo. But that's one of them that I do not want. So in order to protect yourself from stuff like that, you have to walk around with sugar, glucose tabs. You might have to walk around with juice, which I like to do. Just walk around with juice, just in case something happens and I need to cover myself real fast. It tends to help out, you know? So that 10% rule, we're doing much, much, much better than what we did yesterday or the same. So that's a good thing. The next thing we're going to speak about is working that 10% thing. I told you guys about communication and how communication is most definitely going to be the key. That is something that makes humans one of the most successful at surviving. The fact that we can share ideas, the fact that we can spread knowledge from generation to generation. And if you look, we could progressively go forward, you know, and improve. So basically, the next generation of children should learn more and have access to more accumulated knowledge than the generation before. So that's how it goes. And I think that speech, also writing, and these types of things helped us communicate ideas through generations. And this is what makes us special, us communicating. And sometimes we don't really communicate the correct way, and we let things get into the way of us communicating. And I feel that, you know, it shuts down growth. This definitely shuts down growth. Now, this leads us to what we are really speaking about now. Somebody put in the comment section, they say, why are you outside? And it's 4 o'clock. I'm on my way to work, baby. I'm on my way to work. Yeah, no. But thank you for commenting. Yes, sir. So this goes back into what I was speaking about, man. Somebody else on the comment section, they said, please, what they say, please subscribe, like once. Thank you, brother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Hit that subscribe button and like when you come in. You dig? That's what they always say. They say, wipe your feet on the mat. Wipe your feet on the mat. Say what up and hit that like button. You dig? But yeah, so let's go into that Adnon Syed stuff, you know? And I'm not going to get into the evidence, but let's just have a little brief review of what happened. So this happened back in what, 1999, I believe. This is always going to stand out to me because these guys were basically around the same age as me. And I graduated from high school, Baldwin High School, which is a little west from here, in 1998. So these guys were seniors in 1999. And what makes it interesting is that both of them were pretty good students. You had Adnan, who was a track star. He also played football. From what I understand, he was going to Maryland, or he applied to go to Maryland, Maryland State College next year. And it's interesting because I went to hospital my first year, but then I was going to transfer to Maryland because hospital is in Hempstead. At the time, I lived in Hempstead, and I just wanted to have the full college experience, meaning staying on campus and things like that. So I was literally going to go out there to Maryland, you dig? But I didn't do it, you know. And me and Adnan would have been in class together, going to school together, and that would have been interesting. And the person who got murdered, she was definitely on her way to doing great things. She was very intelligent. I saw an interview that she did because I think she was like college, high school athlete of the week or something like that. And they did an interview with her. And she was very well spoken. So she had a bright future. But, you know, from what I understand, she was somebody that you couldn't control, yo. You know, you couldn't control her. She was independent. She was going to do what she had to do. So, you know, she was kind of dating 2 men. And at the time, she was getting over homeboy Adnan. And from what I've seen and what people presented, Adnan couldn't take that. Now, whatever happened, she got murdered. Her body was found in the wooded section over there in Maryland. And anonymous tip pointed to Adnon. Now, there's some weird stuff going on in the case. Some evidence didn't fit, other evidence did fit. But there was a podcast that came out during that time called Serial. And this podcast basically painted the picture that Adnan was framed. That Adnan was framed. And I was listening to it, and it was a greatly produced podcast. It kept us interested. Every episode ended on like a hit on a hanger. You know, it made you want to come back and watch the next episode. And the music and everything about it went perfectly. So it captured us. But was that stuff true? And what drove those people to produce that? And at actually what expense, yo? So when I start looking into the facts and start seeing the person who produced it, these people were basically using their religion and making it seem like, people were against them because they had a different religion and that this kid was being framed. And they basically like looking at the Korean community, painting them in a certain way. But the thing that got lost in all of this is that there was a life lost, that there was a life lost. And just being empathetic to it and thinking about it, just imagine your child, right? Just imagine your child going to school and never returning, and never returning. And the person who's responsible for it or the evidence points toward attempting to get off and attempting to use prejudices against his community, the Muslim community, to paint a picture like this man was framed. Then he had other people, or the producers of the show had other people that was willing to come up and perjure themselves just to try to get this man off when all the evidence pointed toward this cat. These cats did a straight up smear campaign, yo. They basically made it appear as if cell phone evidence can't be trusted. They just went out and did dirty work just to get a man off that most likely did the case. And the only reason why they're sticking up for him because they believe that he's one of his own. And they're doing this in the face of because they come together off of traditions and a shared belief in a God. I don't like to judge and I don't judge. But come on, y'all. That's crazy. What got lost in all of this again is that there was a human life lost. And being a part of a community myself, who often hear things about taking responsibility and culture. If someone in my community did that, and I'm not going to tell you which community it is, I'll just say the urban community. If someone in our community did that, it would just get blown up to an extent that I would feel it, that I would feel it, and I would be stereotyped toward it. But this lady literally went out and did this, yo. And that's just dirty, dirty, dirty work, man. We got somebody on the line. They said, remember me. Who is this? Sweet. Did you come online yesterday when we was talking about the Epstein stuff and conspiracy theories? Was that you? Because if it is, I definitely remember you. Definitely remember you. But man, listen, I'm kind of late. My train gonna get about here at 10. I'm over here sitting around politicking with y'all. I definitely got to get over there in 10 minutes. So I got to kind of speed this up. I ain't going to get a chance to stop at 7-Eleven today. Maybe I left a little bit too late. I don't know what's going on. But I got to rush, and we're going to cut this one short. We're going to pick back up on it tomorrow, my people, But we spoke about that 10% rule. I told you that my health was a little bit better today than it was yesterday. Then I spoke about work and communication. And again, we still good on that. We're good on the communication. And then last but not least, we speaking about, what I want to do around when I retire, which is my personal life. And again, this is the second day that we came on live with you guys. I am going to hold you. I really wasn't feeling like doing it today, But we're trying to get some discipline, my people, and stick to the things that we say we gonna do. So that's what this was about. And I am still kind of late, so I got 9 minutes to make it. Let's see. Let me show y'all, man. Let me show y'all where we at. Because we got 9 minutes to make it from here to over there. And this train is usually late, you know. This is the same train that I was catching when I was over there in Rockville Center. And they were supposed to be over there in Rockville Center at 5:06. And usually that joint used to come like around 5:09, 5:08, 5:10. So that means most likely it's gonna get here like around 5:03. And I do got like what, maybe 10 minutes to make it, but I don't want to risk it, you know, because today is definitely a big day at work. You know, we got a big old meeting and I got to present in it. And I most definitely have to prepare. Yeah, I know. But thank everybody for coming in. Thank y'all for checking. You know, this is Freeport, Long Island, Nassau County, New York. And I'm up out here, man. Thank you guys. Peace out, yo. Love y'all.